She stood on my porch, fumbling with a shiny key like she owned the place. The lock wouldn't turn, and her face twisted with rage. "This is an HOA property, and I'm authorized to enter," she barked, slamming the key again into the door. I leaned against the railing, calm but boiling inside, and said, "Funny, because that's my lock, on my house." Her response was louder than the cicadas buzzing in the trees. She pulled out her phone, dialed 911, and screamed, "There's a trespasser in my home!" I almost laughed, but instead I folded my arms and waited, letting her dig her own grave. Her eyes glared at me like she'd already won. "The cops will drag you out in minutes," she hissed. I tilted my head and pulled my own phone from my pocket. With a single swipe, I was on the line, not with 911, but directly with the dispatcher. "Hey, Carla, looks like we've got another false call from my address." "Yes, same woman." "Yes, still trespassing." The shock on Karen's face was priceless. What? How do you know the dispatcher?" she stammered. I gave her the faintest smile. "Let's just say you really should have checked who you were messing with before dialing that number."
Karen's smirk cracked when the sirens didn't wail down the street like she expected. Instead, her phone buzzed with a callback from 911. She answered, voice trembling. "Yes, this man is inside my house." But the dispatcher's calm reply carried loud enough for me to hear. "Ma'am, we're aware of this situation. You've been warned about making false reports." Her face went pale. "False reports? No, this is my authority," she barked, pointing at a crumpled HOA paper in her hand like it was the Constitution itself. The paper looked official, but even from a glance I could see it was nothing but a cheap printout with her signature scribbled at the bottom. "Karen," I said quietly, stepping closer, "you broke into my yard with a fake key, waving a fake notice, and now you're abusing emergency services. Do you realize how deep you've gone?" She snapped back instantly, louder, trying to drown out my words. "The HOA owns this property! You're squatting!" Her voice cracked on the last word, and I caught the flicker of doubt in her eyes. I pulled a folded document from my back pocket, slow and deliberate. The official seal gleamed under the porch light. Her eyes widened before I even unfolded it. "This isn't just my house. It's federal property, under my authority, and you just trespassed." For the first time, she stepped back. Her hands shook around the useless key. "Federal? What do you mean federal?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I just let the silence hang, thick and dangerous.
Her heels clicked nervously against the wooden porch as she stumbled backward, clutching her fake notice like it could still protect her. "You're bluffing," she spat, though her voice had lost its edge. "The HOA board will have you out by morning." I let out a low chuckle, one that seemed to freeze her where she stood. "Karen, the HOA board doesn't even have jurisdiction here. You know why?" I held the document higher, letting the embossed seal catch the light. "Because this land isn't under their control. It falls directly under federal protection." Her jaw tightened, but her eyes betrayed the fear she was trying to hide. "That can't be! HOA controls everything in this district." "Not everything," I said. "Not the one house that was granted as part of a federal contract years ago, and certainly not mine." Her lips parted, ready to fire back another threat, but a new sound cut her off, the sharp crunch of tires on gravel. She turned, expecting a police cruiser, expecting her victory to arrive. But the vehicle that rolled up wasn't local law enforcement. It was a black SUV with tinted windows, one she clearly didn't recognize. The door opened, and a tall man in a suit stepped out, flashing a badge that made Karen's knees nearly buckle. She tried to speak, but the words tangled in her throat. I folded my arms and said softly, "Remember when I told you you should have checked who you were messing with? This is what I meant."
Karen's eyes darted between me and the man in the suit, panic flickering across her face like a storm. She tried to recover her confidence, jabbing a finger at me. "That's him! He's the trespasser! Arrest him already!" The man didn't even look at her.
He walked past her trembling frame and straight toward me, extending his hand. "Evening, sir," he said with calm authority. "We got your call." Karen's jaw dropped. "Your call? You know him?" The man finally turned his gaze on her, and it was sharp enough to cut glass. He pulled out his badge fully this time, letting the gold catch the porch light. "Ma'am, you've interfered with federal property, impersonated authority, and filed a false emergency report. That's 3 crimes, each serious enough on their own." Karen staggered back, clutching her fake notice like it could shield her. This is HOA jurisdiction. You can't override HOA law." That broke me. I laughed loud and sharp, the sound echoing off the porch beams. "Karen, HOA law doesn't outrank federal law, not even close." The agent's voice dropped lower, firmer. "You think a homeowners association has more power than United States government?" For once, she didn't answer. Her face was red, her chest heaving, and the key in her hand rattled as she tried to hold it steady. But her eyes darted, searching for a way out. Any way out. Then came the twist she didn't expect. The agent nodded toward the driveway. "Good timing. They're here." Headlights swept across the yard, and 2 marked police cruisers pulled in. Karen's face lit up with hope, until the sheriff stepped out, saw me, and snapped a crisp salute. Her mouth fell open. Why is he saluting you?"
Karen froze, the fake key slipping from her fingers and clattering against the porch. The sheriff walked up the steps without even glancing at her, his eyes fixed on me with respect. "Evening, Chief," he said firmly. "We came as soon as we got the word." Her head whipped toward me so fast I thought she might snap her neck. "Chief?" she stuttered, shaking her head in disbelief. No, you're not." I stepped closer, letting her see the truth in my eyes. "You thought I was just some squatter, just another guy you could bully with your fake notices? Karen, this is my district, and you just tried to evict the chief of police from his own home." The color drained from her face. She stumbled backward, muttering, This isn't possible. The HOA board, they said this land was under their authority." The sheriff cut her off, his voice like steel. "Ma'am, the HOA has no jurisdiction here, and you've just committed multiple felonies." He pulled a pair of cuffs from his belt, the metallic click echoing in the night. Karen raised her hands, trembling, her voice cracking. Wait, you don't understand. The board told me they promised." The agent from the SUV stepped forward now, his voice calm but final. "The board isn't going to save you. In fact, we've been investigating them for a while, and thanks to your little stunt tonight, you just gave us everything we needed." Her eyes widened, horror dawning across her face. No, this can't be happening." I leaned in, my words sharp as a blade. "You thought you could control everything with lies and threats. But tonight, Karen, you exposed the whole HOA." Karen's knees buckled, and she sank onto the porch step, her confidence draining faster than the color from her face. "Exposed? What are you talking about?" she whispered, as if saying it quieter might make it less real. The agent pulled a slim folder from the SUV and tossed it onto the porch table with a soft thud. Papers spilled across the wood. Emails, bank transfers, fraudulent HOA invoices. Karen's eyes darted over the pages, and her lips quivered. She recognized every name, every signature. "These," the agent said, tapping the documents, "are proof that your so-called board has been running an extortion ring for years. False fees, fabricated fines, even illegal property seizures. And tonight, you handed us probable cause to bring it all down." She shook her head violently, her voice rising in panic. "No, I was just following orders. They told me to get him out. I didn't know about any of this." The sheriff's jaw tightened. "You filed the false reports. You trespassed. You tried to impersonate authority. You're not just a pawn, Karen. You're part of it." I crouched slightly, meeting her frantic eyes.
You wanted power so badly that you didn't care whose rights you trampled. Now the same power you worshipped is about to crush you." Karen clutched her chest, her breathing ragged. "This isn't fair. You don't understand. They'll come after me too if I don't obey." The agent gave a cold half-smile. "Don't worry, we're coming after all of them, starting tonight." The air grew heavy with silence, broken only by the click of the cuffs snapping around her wrists.